If magic still exists in the world, it can be found in Ireland. Come along with us as we explore the beautiful Emerald Isle over the next week. There were castles and countryside views, pubs and pints, more castles, live music, medieval feasts and Irish dancing, sea cliffs, and enough wool sweaters to bankrupt an entire tour group. But what made this trip truly special is that this was our very first group trip with you guys, our subscribers from our incredible community. We planned this adventure with the hope of bringing people together through travel, but it turned into so much more than just an 8-day road trip through Ireland. And we also partnered with Atomic Trips to make this unforgettable adventure happen for us. We start in Dublin, of course, Ireland's lively capital city known for its historic streets, literary history, live music, and pub culture. Everyone arrived at different times, and we were there a bit early to shake off the jet lag, and honestly, there's no better way to do that than with an Irish coffee, as well as visiting some of the most iconic sites. And in true Ellie fashion, of course, I'm going to talk about beer less than 1 minute into a video. We had to make a stop at St. James Gate, the Guinness storehouse, where we learned how to pour our very own pints of Guinness, which seems to run through the veins of every Irish person that we met, and honestly, for us as well after being there for 8 days. Okay, now we are going downstairs because we were doing something very special. We are going to meet the group for the first time. And everyone's downstairs, so we're gonna go meet everyone and start this awesome adventure through Ireland. And now our group trip officially begins. We met everyone in the hotel lobby for a little meet and greet where I attempted to give a normal professional welcome speech, but as I do, I started rambling, so decided it was probably best to leave it up to the professionals. And speaking of, our tour guide Matt, the man with the most epic mustache you've ever seen, told us some very interesting stories about Dublin as he led the way to dinner. Tonight, we eat at the Merchant's Arch, a classic Irish pub tucked inside a historic building dating all the way back to 1821. We walked up this incredible Harry Potter-like staircase and had our very own private dining space. The food was incredible, the pints were flowing, and I also got some more practice attempting to perfect my Guinness pour. Meanwhile, Chris made his very first attempt at splitting the G. More on that ongoing journey later.
Made in Dublin!
And honestly, there's no better introduction to Dublin than ending the night on a pub crawl. We met up with Lee, a Dublin local, who brought us to some of his favorite spots around the city. He shared stories, introduced us to a few local drinks, and fully welcomed us into Irish pub culture. Of course, Chris had to show off his Guinness skills one more time. This morning, we packed up, left Dublin, and made our way into the Irish countryside. Our first stop was Rock of Cashel, which looks like something straight out of a fantasy movie. This huge group of medieval buildings was once the seat of Irish kings over 1,000 years ago, and later became an important religious site filled with churches, towers, and ancient ruins. Ireland expert Matt told us all about the very interesting history this place holds. And the whole site is incredibly dramatic to see in person. The giant stone buildings seem to just rise right out of the grass, and the views over the surrounding countryside are beautiful, making for some breathtaking photos. And since it was basically our first full day in Ireland, everyone wanted to look the part. So we stopped at a nearby woolen mill for a little shopping, where I definitely was starting to regret doing carry-on only. They had so many nice sweaters, and Chris found the finishing piece to his outfit for the next 8 days. After some lunch, we continued onward into the green countryside, through picturesque villages, slowly getting used to driving on the left side of the road, and onto roads that didn't even seem like roads at all. Until we arrived at our castle. Yes, this whole castle is ours for the next 3 nights. Gabe and Matt greeted us with a glass of wine, and then basically set us loose to settle into our rooms and explore the castle grounds.
Welcome to Springfield Castle.
I don't know how the Atomic Trips team found this place, but they hooked us up. This is truly a one-of-a-kind place to stay. It's like stepping into someone's grand historic family estate. Because you are. It's been owned by the same family for 700 years. There are elegant dining rooms and antique mahogany furniture. There's cozy sitting rooms and crackling fireplaces, winding hallways, and this beautiful courtyard right in the middle of it all. Somehow feels both regal and welcoming at the same time. Our room had a 4-poster bed, a clawfoot bathtub, huge old windows overlooking the countryside, and honestly, for the next few days, I was very ready to accept my new life as Irish royalty. That night, we all gathered at the castle for a group dinner, many of us proudly wearing our purchases from earlier that day. We wined and dined in this unbelievably beautiful setting, and the food was absolutely delicious. A lot of the ingredients were actually grown right on the property, so everything tasted incredibly fresh and flavorful. We were treated to some beautiful live music, but after dinner is when the party really started. Some of us were even brave enough to attempt at learning a classic Irish dance, and honestly, I think Riverdance should be calling us any day by now. I think we nailed it. And even after all that dancing, some of us weren't quite ready for bed, so we happened to stumble upon a part of the castle we hadn't discovered yet, the tavern. You'll see a little more of this later. Well, we found Jeff.
This is so cool. Yeah.
Hidden out in the countryside, we did a short hike up to the Carrigogonal Castle. This ruined medieval castle feels like one of Ireland's best kept secrets. Sitting on top of a rocky hill overlooking the River Shannon, the castle dates back hundreds of years and was once considered one of the strongest fortresses in the region. What makes Carrigogunal special is how untouched and quiet it feels compared to Ireland's more famous castles. There are no big crowds or tourist buses here, just crumbling stone walls, sweeping countryside views, and that wild, mysterious atmosphere Ireland does so well. This is one of Matt's hidden gem finds, and we are so thankful he brought us here. Not only did it make for some awesome photos, we got to climb all around and explore, and also experience true Irish weather. Raining and windy one minute, and then sunny and warm the next. Back at the castle, Sabrina gave us a guided tour of some of the oldest rooms and areas of the castle. And then we had some time to hang out and socialize under the most perfect Irish rainbow. We were spoiled once again for dinner by candlelight with more amazing live music, roast beef, and plenty of wine. And then somehow, maybe because of the wine, I managed to swindle Chris into dancing with me. I think he only agreed because it was my birthday.
Happy birthday, dear Allie. Happy birthday to you.
And you know we ended the night in the tavern, which then somehow evolved into Chris leading sea shanties. And even though this was only the end of day 3, we already felt like a group of longtime friends. We continue our trek through Ireland to one of the country's most iconic sites. Towering high above the Atlantic Ocean, the Cliffs of Moher are one of the most famous natural sites in all of Ireland. These giant sea cliffs stretch for miles along Ireland's west coast, with waves crashing far below and non-stop ocean views in every direction. It's super, super majestic to see it in person. I feel like I've seen this spot on postcards and in photos hundreds of times, but to see this place with your own eyes is something else.
And in 3, 2, 1.
And shout out to Matt, who was not only our guide, but also the group photographer, snapping photos of everyone all week. It was a bit of a drive to get here, but I'm so glad the Atomic team included this in the itinerary because it truly is one of those places that completely lives up to the hype.
You just might be able able to make out the Statue of Liberty. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. All right, so do you want to start both back?
After a long but unforgettable day along Ireland's west coast, we made our way back to the castle one last time for our final evening here. And Atomic had something very special planned for us. It was time for medieval night, and some of us went all out with the costumes, which was so fun.
I love it. This is the most dressed up anybody's ever gotten. I'm absolutely
Then we spent part of the evening with a local historian, Dr. Melissa Shields, who taught us all about the 700-year family history of the castle and other families who lived in all these castles we've been passing by, and how they would have lived and dressed from the Middle Ages all the way through the Renaissance, which was quite fascinating. And a few of us even got to play dress up. Now, I'm not usually a hat girly, but I think I could have pulled this off in the 1700s.
I think it's actually quite charming. So.
Chris even got a lesson in how someone like him might be executed back in the Middle Ages.
Jam that into his eye. Or you might take this and break his nose, and then he's blinded and he can't see, and then basically you've got all the time in the world to just deal him a blow. And you don't even need to kill the guy. All you need to do is cut him. He'll probably get an infection and die screaming in about a week.
We then moved into the tower portion of the castle, and we had some fun attempting to learn a traditional dance that would have taken place in this very room 400 years ago. It was super fun, but based on our performance, I think it's safe to say we would have not survived the medieval entertainment industry. After working up our appetites, we were totally surprised by this medieval feast that awaited us. Walking through the stone walls, it really felt like we were transported back to the 1400s. And as dinner was served, the lessons in medieval royalty continued.
They would pour scented rose water on the hands. Oh, very good. Thank you, lovely. And then you dry your hands. And then they would go away to the next person. The next person. That's how I want everybody to treat me from now on.
We had soup and lamb and chicken pie, potatoes and veggies, salmon and salad and Irish bread, and of course, it wouldn't be a medieval feast without plenty of wine, or Guinness served in a wine glass. On the morning of day 5, we bid farewell to castle life and continued onward toward Killarney National Park, which is one of the starting areas of the scenic Ring of Kerry driving route. This is where we got to really see that beautiful emerald green that Ireland is known for. We met up with a local guide who's born and raised only 20 minutes from here, and we first stopped at Ross Castle, a towered fortress built in the 15th century that overlooks the lake with sweeping views. We followed that by a really interesting hike through a moss-covered forest, and eventually leading us to Muckross Abbey. This peaceful old monastery feels like stepping into a real-life fairy tale. Built almost 600 years ago, the abbey is filled with ancient stone archways, weathered gravestones, and crumbling ruins that have slowly been overtaken by nature. The whole place feels mysterious and magical, especially on a misty Irish day. After some time outdoors, it was time for a well-deserved pint of stout, so we head back into the picturesque town of Killarney and stopped at Murphy's Pub. Now, apparently down here in the southern part of Ireland, locals tend to drink Murphy's instead of Guinness. So naturally, we took this information very seriously in the name of cultural immersion. Not only did the barkeeps pour an absolutely flawless pint here, but I have to admit, I think I might actually prefer Murphy's over Guinness. If you've tried both, let me know in the comments what you prefer. But the day was not over yet. We continued to the town of Cork, where we will stay for the next 2 nights. We checked into our hotel, where I was very excited to have robes and slippers provided. And here's a little travel tip. Some of the plugs we encountered on this trip were on a switch, which some people didn't realize. So even though you plug your adapter in, you still have to turn on the switch to send power to it. So just keep an eye out for that if you're traveling to Ireland. We then enjoyed a pre-dinner historic walking tour through the old town of Cork before a lovely group dinner that Atomic arranged for us at the Spitjack. It was a beautiful meal of French-inspired Irish fare in this beautiful elevated space. I have to say, the meals were honestly some of the best parts about this trip. all of them were included, and we got to sit down together every day like one big traveling group of friends or family. The Atomic team picked such incredible restaurants and experiences that we never would have found on our own. Day 6 was really fun. It was a beautiful, sunny and crisp morning as we made our way to Blarney Castle. Surrounded by gardens and thick green forest, Blarney Castle is one of Ireland's most famous castles, and for good reason. Parts of the castle date back over 600 years, and climbing to the top feels like stepping straight into medieval Ireland, with narrow stone staircases, hidden corners, and incredible views over the countryside. I just love it because it just looks like a quintessential castle. But one of the biggest reasons people visit is to kiss the legendary Blarney Stone. According to Irish tradition, kissing the stone gives you the gift of gab, meaning the ability to speak with charm, confidence, and great storytelling skills. And yes, the actual experience of kissing it is a little funny and slightly terrifying. To do it, you have to lean backwards over an opening high up in the castle, while holding on to metal bars, and there is someone there to support you. It only lasts a few seconds, but it's one of those classic Ireland experiences that you will remember forever. It was a lot further down than it looks, especially for us shorties, but we all did it, we all giggled, and had a ton of fun. 10 out of 10 would do it again. All that kissing put us in a shopping mood, so we hit the Blarney Woolen Mills. And all I have to say is that it's a good thing they gave us a time limit here, because otherwise our credit cards would have never financially recovered from this. We then had the rest of the day free, so we went to check out the extremely picturesque town of Cobh. Colorful, hilly, and sitting right along the waterfront, Cobh is one of the prettiest towns in Ireland. It's best known for its bright row houses, its huge cathedral overlooking the harbour, and its deep connection to Irish emigration and the Titanic. Cobh was actually the Titanic's final port of call before the ship crossed the Atlantic in 1912. And there's a great museum to learn all about the history. I also thought it was interesting that there was a cruise ship in town to help better imagine the actual Titanic sitting here in port 114 years ago. But even beyond the Titanic connection, the town itself is just incredibly charming to walk around. The steep streets, ocean views, cozy pubs, and colorful buildings make it feel almost like a movie set. Our final sightseeing stop of the trip brought us to the Rock of Duna Mace. Unlike some of Ireland's more polished tourist sites, this place feels raw and untouched. There's no big visitor center here, just ancient ruins, broken stone walls, and sweeping, gorgeous views over miles and miles of Irish countryside. And this turned out to be the perfect final stop for this trip. As we wandered through the ruins, taking photos together and soaking in the views one last time, I think all of us were quietly realizing just how special this week had become. This trip just became so much bigger than just a sightseeing trip around Ireland.
Oh, he's taking a selfie. I am not.
We ended our trip with one final farewell dinner with this incredible group. There were speeches and awards, limericks and laughs, a few tears, and most importantly, so many smiles and memories made together. To the 35 adventurous souls who trusted us with our very first group trip ever, thank you. Thank you for taking a chance on this experience and for making it so unbelievably special. Getting to meet you guys, our community in person, people who have supported our videos for years, and getting to share my favorite thing in the world with you, traveling. Honestly, it meant more to us than I can properly put into words. And to everyone out there watching, thank you for supporting us and helping us grow this incredible community. None of this would exist without you. We cannot wait to do more of these trips, and we hope to see you there. And one last shout out to the incredible team at Atomic Trips. They planned and organized everything for us. We absolutely loved working with them. And what's so cool is that they're a really small company and they travel with us. We had our superstar Sabrina. She organized everything for us and made adjustments on the fly based on what we wanted to do. Matt was our tour guide for the whole trip and shared so many interesting stories with us and was also our amazing photographer. We also had Gabe, who was there behind the scenes making sure everything flowed. And last but not least, our bus driver, Potty. He was the kindest, most caring soul I think any of us have ever met. just an absolute gem of an Irishman who kept us entertained and taught us so much about Irish culture and history. It was truly an honor to travel with such a great group of people and a great tour company, and I cannot wait to do it again. We will definitely be doing more of these, so make sure your email is on my insiders list to be the first to know about upcoming trips. And the Atomic team runs trips like this to not only Ireland, but to other countries like Italy and France. So if you're in need of a fun, all-inclusive vacation, head to atomictrips.com/Ally to browse upcoming trips. Thanks for watching, everyone. Sláinte!